Hi, I'm Montana. I'm a bike tour guide and mechanic at Wilderness Voyageurs, and I'm going to be going through some really common creaks and snapping noises that your bike can make when you're riding. So one thing that all of these noises have in common is it's going to be metal on metal that's not properly lubricated. So all of these are really simple fixes. All you need to do is identify where the noise is coming from and either add a little bit of light oil or a little bit of grease. So when you have a creak in your bike, the first thing you need to do to fix it is to figure out what's creaking and isolate it. There's a couple common things that people want to jump to first, but you really need to start with the simpler stuff. So one of the very first things that people always want to jump to is the bottom bracket, and that's the set of bearings that the cranks spin around. That's actually a fairly complicated fix, and it's not usually the source of your creak. So here are the quick checks that I do. So the first one, I'm going to hold the bike like this, put the brake on, and push on the crank from the side. And you can see I'm flexing the frame. So what that does is it'll tell me if the creak is in the rear hub, that rear quick release, or maybe the front quick release, or in this pedal. And then from the other side, do the same thing, and that'll tell me if the creak is over in this pedal. So by far the most common reason for creaks and clicking noises while you're riding is going to be your rear axle. So the rear through axle, or in this case quick release. So to check that, I'm going to open up the quick release lever, take the back wheel out. And the reason that this will start to creak is if it's dry with no lubrication, like no grease on it at all, it's going to make noise. It's going to creak and click when you're making power pedaling forward. So another very common bike noise that's going to manifest itself in like a click, 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 click every time you pedal is going to be dry pedal threads. So to check that, I'm going to remove the pedal. The threads of the pedal need to be nicely greased. Take a little grease, paint it on your pedal threads. Make sure you clean up the threads of the crank arm as well to get any dirt or sand out of there, because that'll make noise as well. And then go ahead and reinstall the pedal. If you hear a clicking noise when you're out of the saddle and you're putting leverage on either side of the bar, you'll hear like a click, 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 click. Oftentimes that's going to be the faceplate of the stem. So to fix that, the stem bolts need to be lubricated. So a really quick fix, if you don't want to completely remove the stem bolts, you can just use a light lubricant like Tri-Flow, drip it on the heads of the bolt and into the threads, and a lot of times that'll totally take care of the noise. And then use a wrench and just double check that they're tight. So if you notice a creak when you sit down onto the saddle, or when you're sitting in the saddle and going over bumps, a lot of times it'll be the seat post itself. So there's two places on here that you need to double check to solve this creak. One is the head of the seat post, and to fix that, what we're going to do is use a light lubricant and then make sure it's tight. And then two is where the seat post goes into the frame, and to fix that, we're going to remove the seat post, grease it, and reinstall it. Alright, so thank you guys for watching. These noises can be pretty tough to identify, but once you do find them, they're pretty easy fixes. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out to your guide and we can help you out, figure it out, and make sure you have a good bike tour.